What's up YouTube, Dell here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing an update that a lot of you wanted to see. Today is the time of the update for Red Eyes Black Dragon. Now this does involve the Primite cards, as with the addition of Primite Fusion, it does make some of the cards a little bit more accessible for the Red Eyes strategy. Now there's a couple of different ways you can build this deck. You can lean into Red Eyes a little bit more and start to utilize the Archfiend cards in the main deck to then get you access to your Archfiend Fusion monster. You can go a little bit heavier on the Metal Morphs to give you a bit more protection, or you can start to utilize stuff like Nadir's Servant to give you more access to other fusion alternatives. This build that I put together is a little bit more combo orientated than the normal routes of Red Eyes, but I do feel that with the introduction of the Primite Fusion, it gives you the ability to access your cards a little bit earlier on and not need to rely on Red Eyes Fusion specifically until the next turn, and then you can use that as a one punch OTK. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more upcoming content. Diving head first into the profile, we're going to be starting off with Red Eyes Black Dragon. So you are going to be utilizing 3 Red Eyes. Now this is a little bit different to the counterparts of Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, because in those particular builds, you tend not to be playing 3 of the core cards. The reason we're going to play 3 of the core cards in this strategy is for the pure fact that you actually get direct access to these cards so many times. You have a lot of cards in the Red Eyes strategy, being stuff like your Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon and of course Red Eyes Insight, that want you to send a Red Eyes monster from the deck to the grave. So being able to get direct access for these cards to get to the graveyard is when you're going to be able to start reviving them, using them as rank 7 material, and that's also where you can start to utilize Primite Lordy Load as well to give you a little bit more consistency. Moving on to the other cards, we are on 3 Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon. Now this is double usage, and what I mean by that is being a level 6 is actually quite useful when you're trying to access your Meteor Black Comet Dragon. But it also has a very good effect that it lets you send a level 5 or higher normal monster from the hand or deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from the hand. You then increase its level by 1. During the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the grave, you get to banish it from the grave to add a Red Eyes Fusion from the deck or grave to the hand. Now the benefit of something like that is it allows you to go full combo during turn 1, and then in your second turn you banish this from the graveyard to get you access to Red Eyes Fusion, which then unlocks the ability to either go into another Meteor Black Comet Dragon for a bit of burn damage, or it can open up the door to a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon to ideally, utilizing both Red Eyes and Dark Magician, give you a double pop and burn alongside a push for an OTK. So even if your opponent does completely clear your entire field, if they can't stop Red Eyes Fusion, you're going to be able to deal a huge amount of damage. That being said, you are going to be utilizing 1 Dark Magician. Now, you have a couple of different ways that you can access this card, but also remember that Primite Fusion lets you put the card back into the deck. With Red Eyes Fusion, you ideally want the monsters in the deck, which is why the Primite Fusion is going to be very, very important, because that will allow you to recycle this card should you choose to either send it from the deck to the grave with something like your Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon, or if you want to summon it from the deck directly with a Primite Lordy Load to then use it as overlay material. As long as you make sure you detach it and are able to put it back into the deck, it means your Red Eyes Fusion is going to be full swing and then allow you to get the double pop and burn for a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. The other Red Eyes monsters that we are playing, it technically isn't a Red Eyes monster, but we rock and roll with it, is of course 3 Black Metal Dragon. Now this card is going to be so useful for you because this is going to be your bridge between your Red Eyes Black Dragon and of course your Metal Morphs. Now I'm not playing Red MD in the main deck right now, but you can very easily add it in. It's kind of one of them cards where my direct target for the Black Metal Dragon is going to be the access of my Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. Not saying that Red Darkness Metal Dragon isn't a good card at all. By all means, you can very easily put it in here. It's just something that I didn't really want to focus on in the strategy. I've got a copy here right to the side, so you can very easily add this in should you wish to. The idea is we're going to be utilizing the Primites and of course the Metal Morphs to give us a bit more protection, and you can't really afford to use this as your normal summon alongside your Primite Ether Barrel. So quite like the Dark Magician strategy, you're going to have a bit of a clash with your normal summons, as this doesn't have the capabilities like Blue Eyes to give you an additional normal summon of your normal Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician starters. Carrying on with the rest of the Red Eyes cards, we are playing 3 Red Eyes Insights. You send a Red Eyes monster from the hand or deck to the graveyard, then add a Red Eyes spell or trap from the deck to the hand, except itself. Now again, this is another way that you can get direct access to your Red Eyes Fusion, but we're only playing 1 copy of this. The other card you're going to want to get access to will be Return of the Red Eyes. Now the reason you want to get access to a Return of the Red Eyes rather than anything else is this gives you that control factor during your opponent's turn. So if you control a Red Eyes monster except Red Eyes be Chick, you get to target a normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you get to target a Red Eyes monster in your graveyard except Red Eyes Black Chick and special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. Now the idea is it's a continuous trap card that lets you stay on the field, but it's also a continuous trap card that you can send with your other Red Eyes monster being your Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragon. Now this is going to be your bridge into your Metal Morph monsters, and that's when you're going to be able to get a little bit more advantage to give you a bit more disruption, a bit more protection. So utilising 2 Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragons, you get to activate Metal Morph traps the turn they were set. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You get to send a face down card you control to the graveyard to special on this card from the hand. If it is normal or specialed and you have max Metal Morph in your field or graveyard, you get to add a Metal Morph trap from the deck or grave back to the hand. Now you're going to be relying a little bit less on that entire effect, though that entire effect is still very, very useful because you get to activate max Metal Morph the turn it is set to then get you direct access to tribute this card off and get you into your Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. However, the way you need to look at this card is it's a card that lets you send a face down card you control to the graveyard to summon a level 7 extender, which opens up the door to some of your rank 7 plays. Now there is a way that if you wanted to play an additional brick, which I probably don't advise doing because this deck already plays a couple of cards you don't want to be seeing in your hand, stuff like Dark Magician, you can very easily play Boot Sector Launch, and the reason you would do that is if you start off with Ether Barrel or even your Black Metal Dragon, you turn it into the Striker Dragon. The Striker Dragon will then get you access to the Boot Sector Launch. You can then set the Boot Sector Launch on the field, and that is a face down card you can send with your Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragon. So it's an option to look at if you wanted to, and it's a way that you can increase the speed and access for your Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragon, because at the very least what you can do is use your Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragon and use your Striker Dragon and go into Hieratic Seals. So this gives you a way of getting another level 7 extender. The the Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon gives you the ability that it can't be normal summon set, it must be special summon with max Metal Morph, and then it gives you the by tributing a level 5 or higher dragon monster. It gives you the ability that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get a quick effect to negate the activation, and then you inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of 1 attack position monster your opponent controls. You can only use each effect once per turn, but you can also reveal this card in the hand to set a max Metal Morph from the deck to the field, and then put this back into the deck. The other card we are using that has that pretty much same effect is the Metal Flame Swordsman, so a very Joey orientated card. So it can't be normal summon a set, and it must be special summon with max Metal Morph by triggering a level 5 or higher warrior, which you're not going to be doing in this build. But you get to reveal this card in the hand to then add a card that mentions max Metal Morph from the deck to the hand except itself, and if you do, you put this card back into the deck. So the benefit is this can get you direct access to this guy, it can get you direct access to this guy, but it can also get you direct access to your Metal Illusionist, which becomes another starter for the deck if you don't see Primite Ether Barrel or your Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. So this one lets it increase its level by 4 during your opponent's turn only, and you can make it become a different type. So that's when you can turn it into a dragon. If it's normal or special, you get to set a max Metal Morph or a Metal Morph trap to be specific from the deck. Then if max Metal Morph is in your graveyard, you get to draw 1 card. So again, we've got loads of different combo routes with this entire deck, and it's up to you whether you want to lean into one over the other. But this is kind of one of these engines that I wanted to try and shrink down and keep it as a base minimum, and that's why we're also playing free incoming machine, because your free incoming machine can become your starter in the form of your Metal Illusionist, it can become your extender in the form of the Red Eyes Metal Claw Dragon, it can become your negator if you want to be able to get into the Black Full Metal to then reveal it to get your max Metal Morph. It just gives you a loads of consistent routes to get to those pieces should you need to. This is very easily a card you could sacrifice 1 copy of, and that's where your Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon comes into play. The last kind of cards that help this strategy out is, of course, 1-1-for-1, get you into your Metal Illusionist, but can also get you into your Black Metal Dragon. And, of course, the 1 Max Metal Morph, because it is so easy to be recycled with your Red Eyes Claw Dragon, and, of course, being able to get access to it through your other Metal Morph monsters, it's one of the ones that you don't need to be relying too heavily on having multiple copies. Then moving on to the Primite engine, we do play free Primite Ether Barrel. The idea behind this one is on normal you set a Primite spell. Now in the past you're probably going to be going directly for your Lordy Load, but in this one if you've been able to get your cards to the graveyard you can also get direct access to your Primite Fusion. So you've got a couple of different options should you want to, but also remember that your Primite Lordy Load allows you to add a Primite card from the deck to the hand. So you've just got consistent factors, and then with your Ether Barrel and of course your Drill Beam you're going to have consistent resource recursion, which can set you up with protection, disruption, you name it. One Primite Fusion, in this particular version you could play more if you wanted to, but again it's one of them cards I don't really want to see in my opening hand. I want to work my way to it through the Primite engine, because then at least I know if I've worked my way through it to the Primite engine at the base minimum, I could very easily utilize Primite Lordy Load plus off the back of an Ether Barrel and get a Red Eyes Black Dragon from the deck, or even a Dark Magician should I want to, and then I can link both of those off into a link 2 of my choosing. Ideally if you use Red Eyes you go into the Hieratic Seals, and then straight away I have Red Eyes and a Dragon in the graveyard, which can be utilized for some other fusion targets if you wanted to consider them. Then for the hand traps, I'm only playing 6 of these ones. So we've got 3 Bestials, and the reason I feel that Bestials are probably like the best kind of version of hand trap for this particular type of deck. They can be Imperms, they can be Veilers, they can be Ashes if you want to, but the fact of the matter is these let you search out your dragons. They become a level 6 dragon on the field. They're also a level 6 dragon in the deck that can be sent. They also then give you the ability for disruptions and you name it. Then 3 Multrami Fluoros, because if you do go second, you want to be able to have the strongest Floodgate-esque card in your entire deck, and this is one of the ones that's going to deter your opponent from building their entire strength field, or they're going to be able to just give you so much advantage that you're going to be able to pick through it bit by bit. The final card of the deck is 1 Call by the Grave, because you need to be able to navigate around Ash Blossoms going towards your Red Eyes Fusion, and of course being able to deal with Drown Lot Birds and anything else that can kind of cause you a bit of an issue. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So the main Red Eyes Fusion monster we're going to be focusing on is the Meteor Black Comet Dragon. Now you can actually utilize your Red Eyes Slash Dragon if you wanted to, and of course the Archfiend Red Eyes, but these kind of came down to having you required to play more specific cards or didn't have the best outgoal. I feel that Red Eyes are well overdue for having an actual Dragon Fusion monster to be an upgrade for this particular style of deck, but right now the Meteor Black Comet Dragon in my opinion is the best option. So, if it requires 1 level 7 Red Eyes monster and a level 6 dragon. If it's fusion summoned, you get to send a Red Eyes monster from the hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the original attack of that monster. Then on benefit of this one is if it is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you get to target a normal monster in the graveyard and special summon it. The reason that's a benefit is back in the day when you only were able to use Red Eyes Fusion, you would summon this card and then you couldn't do anything with it. Whereas now, because you can utilize Primite Fusion, it lets you extend that little bit more. So as long as you can get a level 6 dragon from your hand deck or anything else to the graveyard, which you can do with the rest of your Red Eyes monsters, especially your Black Meteor Dragon, this will then give you access to go into this card, then you can link it off with another monster to get you into Hieratic Seals, or an SP Little Knight if you're going second and you want to be as disruptive as possible. This will then allow you to bring back a Red Eyes Black Dragon, or a Dark Magician if you put it into the graveyard, because it just lets you revive any normal monster, and you're able to keep on pushing. The other fusion monster that you can make off of the back of your Primite Fusion is your Borreload Furious Dragon. This requires 2 Dark Dragon monsters, so it can't use Ether Barrel, but it can use 2 Red Eyes, which is why I said it's very important that we're going to be burning through our Red Eyes, recycling them, and then going again. So this gives you a quick effect to target a monster you control and a card your opponent controls, and you destroy both of them. You can banish this card from the graveyard to then target a Dark Limp monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but it can't activate its effects this turn, so it allows you to recycle something like an SP Little Knight. Then, not a card that you can actually, no, we'll go over the cards that you can then actually utilize off of the back of the Primite Fusion first. So I'm going to show you 2. You would choose one or the other, not both. So I would advise you to choose one of the first of the dragons. You can go for first of the dragons or first of the dragon lords. So, going over first of the dragons first, this requires 2 normal monsters, and again it can be utilized with Primite Fusion. You can fusion summon this card, can't be special summoned by other ways. You can only control 1 first of the dragons. It can't be destroyed by battle except by the battle of a normal monster and is unaffected by other monster effects. Now in a Dark Magician build, that's kind of one you would be playing a little bit more because you're only playing 2 normal monsters. However, in this particular build, because we are playing 3 Red Eyes and a Dark Magician, and we are going to be burning through our Red Eyes very quickly and very easily, you could upgrade this and consider first of the Dragon Lords. So this requires 3 normal monsters, and it must be fusion summoned. You can only control 1 of it, and it can't be destroyed by battle, and is unaffected by other monster effects. Once, while face up on the field, when a spell, trap card, or an effect is activated, you get a quick effect to destroy all spells and traps on the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. So the benefit of that is what you're doing is you're upgrading your Dragon Lord, and you're going to be going into a 37 and 3k rather than a 27 and 2k, and then it has an additional effect that allows you to deal with your opponent's spells and traps. So I'd say you do one or the other. In this particular build, I would personally go with Thirst of the Dragon Lords rather than Thirst of the Dragon. So I wanted to show you that these two cards exist and keep in mind that you can use either or. Another either or that I would highly advise you to look at is actually either going to be your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, or Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic. So you've got a defensive option and an aggressive option. The defensive option on this one requires Dark Magician and a Dragon Monster, so again, more reason to be able to utilize cards that send Dark Magician from the deck to the grave. It becomes Dark Magician while on the field or in the graveyard, but what it does give you is it gives you the ability to protect your spells and traps from being targeted and being destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So if you wanted to protect your Lordy Load, if you wanted to protect your Red Eyes, Return of the Red Eyes, you have that option for you. If you go, you know what, I don't really play a lot of back row or a lot of spells and traps, I want to be a bit more aggressive, you can actually consider playing your Dark Magician, the Knight of Dragon Magic. So this requires Dark Magician and then a level 7 or higher Dragon or Warrior Monster. Again, we're not playing a warrior, but the idea is, again, you can utilize this with Primite Fusion. If your monster attacks a defense fusion monster, you inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Once per turn, when your monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. If this card is destroyed, you special on both a Dark Magician and a Guy the Fierce Knight, but we're not playing the Guy the Fierce Knight. The benefit of something like this is it allows you to add a little bit more pressure in regards to the burn damage, because you're going to be burning off of the back of your Meteor Black Comet Dragon, you can burn off of the back of your Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, you can also burn off of the back of any of your other Red Eyes monsters like your Red Eyes Flare Metal, and then you're going to be able to do piercing damage and then burn damage off of that, and you've got your Dragoon that can do burn damage. Like, this one would be my personal choice of the two, but again, it's one of the ones to highlight. These cards exist, you could choose one or the other. The final fusion monster that we are going to be playing is the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Like I said, this is one of your win con options that once you've gone through your first turn, you search out Red Eyes Fusion on the next turn, and as long as you have left Dark Magician in the deck, or even if you draw it, you can then Red Eyes Fusion, get into this guy. This guy will be used with Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon, so you'll get the double pop, the double burn, and then pushing in for a 3k OTK. Then moving on to the Xyzes, we are playing two Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, alongside one Eclipse Dragon Ruler of Catastrophes. Now the reason you play this is its secondary effect is that when your opponent activates a spell, trap card, or an effect, you get a quick effect to detach two materials from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. It requires two level 7 dragons, so it's a little bit harder to make than being able to make a Red Eyes Flare, because this is just generic, so this can use Dark Magician and Red Eyes, but this one needs to use two Red Eyes, or technically two Red Eyes level 7s. This gives you the ability to negate spells. If you don't want to play this one, again, you've got loads of different options. Some of the other options you consider is the Dark Armed of the Dragon of Annihilation. I'm personally not playing this card because I am instead playing the Darkest Dragon Doom Rider. Now the reason I'm playing this instead of the Dark Armed Dragon is that this can become a quick effect if it has a dragon attached to it as material. It does require you to detach two materials rather than one, but it lets you target a face-up card on the field and destroy it. The benefit of something like that in comparison to Dark Armed is Dark Armed is going to be more aggressive for going second, and obviously you can pop multiple cards, whereas this gives you the option that should you feel that something could be coming your way, maybe something like an Eternal Soul or a True Light you want to be a little bit prepared for, you can make this instead, or you can have this backed up with this, or this backed up with this. Like, you've got loads of different options to play around with. The final rank 7 I'm playing is the one number 11 Big Eye. Pretty standard on that one. Then we've got the one Superstar Slayer Typhon. You can take this out for any of the other options that I'm about to show you here. So if you wanted to play, again, you wanted to play both the dragons, if you wanted to play your Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, your Dark Armed Annihilation, Dark Relinquish Anima, you have a bit more flexibility should you want to. The final cards we are playing is the one Striker Dragon, the one Hieratic Seals, and of course the one SP Little Knight. Relatively standard on a Link lineup on this one. As I've mentioned, your Striker Dragon is going to be your Link fodder. Should you not have any extender, in an ideal scenario, you want an extender to then just go straight into the Hieratic Seals. But if you don't have that, you have to work your way into a Striker Dragon. That's where you could be arguably looking for something like your Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. But as mentioned, we're going to be utilizing the dragon that we search off of the back of our Black Metal Dragon to be either our extender in the Red Eyes Metal Claw, or we want to be getting into our Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon to get us access to the Max Metal Morph. So it really comes down to what you want to get access to, and rather than having 3 options, I went with 2 options, but very easily add this in, and that's your extender good and gone to go. So that's it for the entire main deck and the extra deck. For a side deck, the side deck pretty much comes down to the environment you're going to be looking for. So I'll be using this pretty much the same side deck for the Dark Magician lineup, but the idea is it just gives you a bit of an idea of the cards you want to be looking for. So you'd be looking at cards like Dragon's Mind. I think it's like the best option for a deck like this, just for the pure fact that you play monsters that are 25, so it's very easy to get access to this card. Less so with the Red Eyes, because Red Eyes is 24, but you've got access to Dark Magician. Some of your extra deck cards are going to be 25 as well. If you don't want to be relying on this as heavily, you can start looking at stuff like your Solemn Judgment, Solemn Strikes, and Solemn Warnings. So that's one option. Another option you can put in the main deck, should you want to, is you could go for Dominus Impulse, but I know not that many people have access to them, and honestly, if you have access to them, you're probably not going to be playing Red Eyes Black Dragon. You pretty much want to make sure you have Spell and Trap Destruction, so you want to be looking at stuff like Lightning Storms, backed up with a Harpy's Feather Duster. You can then also consider two more specific hand traps. You'd be looking at stuff like Drawn Lockbird. You'd be looking at stuff like Nibiru the Primal Being. You could even consider stuff like Ghostbow and Haunted Mansion, depending on the environment you're going to and how effective you feel these cards are going to be for you. So that's pretty much it for the entire profile breakdown. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer them where at all possible. For now, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.